All right, we are live. We're live on multiple platforms today. We are on what is it? We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, and we are live on Periscope. So we're on 3 different platforms this morning. So I'm Stan Shields. This is Ace Fair that is with me, and we are going to talk today about pivoting. This is Wednesday. You know how people like to say Wednesday is hump day? This is pivot day.
I love it.
Wednesday is pivot day, right? So I never got into this whole thing about hump day and about, Mondays. It's Monday. I'm like, oh my gosh, what difference does it make? It's just another day of the week, right? For some of us, we're working every day of the week anyway, so it kind of doesn't matter, right? So I'm going to come back and do an official introduction of Mr. Fair in just a moment here, but let's just talk about a few other things first. Now, if you've not liked, subscribed, followed, or whatever it is based on the platform that you like to watch from, then please go do that for me and follow, watch, or like and subscribe. Join me as I do these broadcasts. My Tuesday broadcast is typically a Tool Tip Tuesday. So I look for tools that I can share with you that might help to make your life better. If you didn't see yesterday's broadcast, go look at it and you'll see Kevin Tracy and we talk about our top 10 favorite tools. And we shared some really cool apps, processes, and so forth that can maybe help you in your business and maybe even in your life. Wednesday is Pivot Day. I want to talk to business owners who have pivoted with COVID-19 and how are they moving forward, and how's business working out for them with the shift. Some people don't want to shift. Some people are kind of stuck in their ways. They don't want to change and they're just waiting for things to go back to normal. Guess what? We're in the normal. There's a new normal. It's going to be different as we move forward. So we have to learn to pivot with life and the challenges and the circumstances and to move forward and to thrive, which leads me into my third Thursday broadcast. Thursday is Thrive Time Thursday. So I want to talk to those business owners that are thriving today. They're not sitting back saying, oh, woe is me, the world's terrible, COVID-19 has destroyed my business. They've pivoted. They are thriving. They're moving forward with it in some way, form, or fashion. And tomorrow's interview is a great interview. Come join me. I'm going to be interviewing the Cat Lowe's. This is a guy that I met on this Blitzer platform. He and I really hit it off right away. We did a one-to-one, and I'm so impressed with what it is that they're doing. It's interesting. Many of us have read Tim Ferriss's book, The 4-Hour Work Week. Have you read that book, Ace? The 4-Hour Work Week? Yeah, and so many people have been inspired by that book when it first came out. And a lot of people looked at it and said, yeah, it's pie in the sky. I mean, that's not realistic to be able to do that. Well, here's the thing. Some people are. There are a lot of online entrepreneurs that are using those strategies that Tim Ferriss laid out. He literally changed the face of business with that book. What's interesting also is the Cat Lowe's they're doing many of the things. They're living the dream. They get to travel around the world, living their life, mostly putting processes and whatnot on automation. So I'm going to talk with them tomorrow about what they're doing and where they are right now. Right now, they're in Mexico, but you never know where they're going to be. So it's going to be fun. So tomorrow is Thrive Time Thursday with the Cat Lowe's. So join me with that broadcast. So once again, if you've not liked, subscribed, or followed, then please go do that based on the channel that you prefer. So we've got on 3 channels, Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope. A lot of people think Periscope is dead. It depends on your market. Periscope is very much alive and well. It just depends on your market and where your customers are. And that's one of those things I always say, you have to be where your customers are. So if your customers are on Periscope, Periscope would be a great place for you to be. Okay, so let's get to today's topic and our guest for today. We have Mr. Ace Fair and let me put his information down here across the bottom. Ace Fair of Fair Solutions, Inc. Okay, now he's an independent associate with Legal Shield, ID Shield. I've known Ace for really the last 3 years that I've been in Las Vegas. Ace was one of the first people that I met because I was here for about a week unpacking, doing all the normal stuff. And I said, all right, it's time to plug in. So I started looking for networking groups, and I ended up stumbling into speed networking, and Ace Fair was in speed networking. He and Diana Whitley. And so I've known Ace now over these last 3 years. It's been fun. This is a young man that is highly energetic and highly positive. And so what he did and his pivot for COVID-19 doesn't surprise me at all. But he's got a fascinating story because, and I'm going to let him tell the story, but he's got a fascinating story because I knew him and saw how he operated and all of what he did before COVID-19. And then as I see how he is operating during and we can't say post COVID-19 because we're still in it, but but what he's done has been nothing short of amazing to me, and that's why I wanted to bring him on today as a guest to tell you his story. So welcome, Ace Fair. How are you this morning?
Thank you. I am good. Namaste. I've got tapped to do several of these broadcasts today. I was on one earlier at 7 a.m. Pacific. And it was actually a COVID survivor platform. And I was most honored to be on there to talk about the services that we offer, especially for a time like this. And I want to commend you for having the vision, Stan, to have something like this and to give of yourself to enrich other people's lives, especially entrepreneurs. And you're to be thanked for that. So namaste. And let me jump into it. And I just one quick thing. We developed a relationship because of speed networking, but we originally met at Network After Work, and it was at the Rio, and it was the latter part of a couple of years ago. I can't tell you the exact year. It was either 20, I think it was 2017.
It was 2017.
Actually, 2017, either November or December. And it was at Network After Work. And I bring that up because everyone has to adjust and adapt during this time, or your business is going to be no business. And Network After Work did a lot of live events, hundreds of live events all across the country on a monthly basis to the tune of 50, 100, sometimes 200 people in a room, because I attended them in Chicago, where I have a home still, in Vegas, and in California. And that brings me to what we talked about prior. Prior to COVID, I'm living my life. I'm very active in the community. I could attend 3 networking events in one day. Okay.
3? You did 5 networking events in a day.
I've done as many as actually 6 in one day, the morning to late at night. And but sometimes if I on a weekly basis, it might be 2 to 3 in one day, but at least 4 to 5 in a week. And I would meet someone new, like I met Stan. I would engage them. I would send them a thank you note, handwritten, or an email thank you note, or a text note, which is comparable now, and say, hey, let's get together physically. Let's meet at Starbucks or Panera Bread, and let me find out more about what you do, tell you more about what I do, and maybe we can help each other. And I've been doing that for 25 years plus, and it works. Okay, that's how I built business and made some substantial success in my life and helped other people to be successful. So when COVID hit, then what do you do? What does a guy like me do? What do people do that your whole business is predicated on going to the Chamber of Commerce lunch, going to the Chamber of Commerce after hours? Very active in my chamber here in Vegas for the last 21 years. Also too, my business, we would do seminars that were an hour and 15 minutes short. We would do receptions in front of those seminars to drive business. So that's all we did prior to COVID. Okay. We would do that type of activity, and that's how we made business. Well, folks, we find that in this COVID environment, people are concerned still with 3 major things. And it was before COVID. It certainly is now. their mental health, their physical health, and financial health. And as long as you can adjust and adapt, you can still find opportunity in what you have to offer. You know, a poor mind needs proof, but a wealthy mind seeks opportunity, ladies and gentlemen. And here's what we found out. We found out anything you can do in a room, you can do in a Zoom. And I'm using that as a colloquial because, you know, Zoom is almost like Kleenex. You don't say, pass me a tissue. You say, pass me a Kleenex. And guess what? 7 times out of 10, it's not a Kleenex. It's a tissue. It could be a generic tissue. It could be a different brand tissue, but you say Kleenex. My mom, who's 86 years young, who's old school, she still says today, because she got access to one of the first ones ever, she still says, baby, can you Xerox something for me? She means make a freaking copy.
That's right.
You know, Xerox is the brand. So that's what Zoom has done. My mom knows what Zoom is. Now, she doesn't know what Remo is.
Right.
She doesn't know what Blitzer is.
Right.
She may know that freeconferencecall.com has video conferencing. Okay. She doesn't know what Microsoft Teams are. Okay. But these are all different formats, ladies and gentlemen, that quite honestly, I'm on a regular basis. I am recommending different formats for my clients, that sort of thing. So quickly, when we saw this happening, as of March the 16th, I quickly arranged my very first networking Zoom with my Chamber of Commerce because I did not want to lose momentum. I had actually had momentum coming out beginning the first quarter and the third month of the first quarter, which was March. I had my biggest seminars in the latter part of February and the beginning of March. And I said, my goodness, I cannot lose this momentum. I had some of the biggest networking that I had seen in those time periods. The speed networking that me and Stan attend, we were upwards of 70, 80 people. And so I said, my goodness, I cannot lose business momentum. It is very hard to get momentum in your business. It is very easy to lose momentum in your business. And so I said, I know the Zoom technology. I've used it once a month for the last once a week for the last 2 years. So not a very avid user, although my mentors, which you have to find mentors and listen to them, have been urging me to use it even more. But I hadn't done it, resting on my laurels. You know, we do pretty good financially, so didn't worry about it. But boy, I was ready. Okay. And they say in business, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So I was already versed in the technology. And so quickly, the first thing I did was become a resource. I contacted my chamber. I said, we have a meeting tomorrow. They said, I know, maybe we can organize a video conference in a couple of weeks. I said, no, let's do it tomorrow. I'm setting it up right now. And I did that. Another group that I'm involved with, they had already made, quote, what you guys like to say, the pivot. And 2 weeks prior already had networking in place, video via video conferencing. And it's a group out of Chicago that I actually founded. And so I've never missed a meeting ever since the pandemic because it's now video conference from Chicago. And so I quickly did those things. And then for me, our business, we were doing seminars, hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half every week, live seminars. We quickly started doing what some of my friends, I have a good friend in Canada, calls Zoominars. So again, anything you can do in a room, you can do in a Zoom. And so quite literally, so we took our once a week Zooms, our once a week seminars, and we turned them in daily Zooms. Starting
daily Zooms.
Daily
Zoom. So you went from a once a week seminar to a daily seminar.
Absolutely. And instead of an hour and 15 minutes, these were anywhere between 25 minutes and no more than about 40. And so we sustained business from March, April, May. I actually saw some of my fellow entrepreneurs that are in similar businesses. Their business went like this, and boom, took off. way up into the right.
Wow.
And so we sustained, we started doing well, we started taking off as well ourselves. And I tell you what, financially, we just had one of the biggest months we've had this year, this past August. And,
Okay.
and everything that we do. So all our training, all our everything. And then how do we find more people? Well, it's networking. People like Network After Work, they didn't rest on their laurels. They quickly turned their events into big events. Why? Because of the technology. So they shifted to Zoom. They started doing 100, 200 people at a regular basis, you know, several times a month, national Zooms. So if your products and services and scope are national through the technology, it gives you even a bigger reach, which is some of the fundamental things in terms of making the adjustments and adapting to the technology. And so quickly, again, I got with a young lady, Diana Whitley, and as well as you, Stan, and we turned our speed networking live event into a Zoom. And so we started doing that, and it started catching on. We figured out the technology, thanks to you, in terms of how to make it authentic, in terms of how people did it and how we did it in a live format. And so the chambers caught on, I caught on, our speed networking caught on. And so that led me to just find out about other formats going on. I continued my networking and helping people as best I could and giving referrals and leads and contacts out. And a young lady that I started to network with prior to COVID, we kept networking together. And so now you have to strengthen your communications, using your cell phone, being on the phone more with people. People want to connect more. Okay. Not only that, but you've got FaceTime if you're an iPhone user. You've got Google, I forgot what it's called, Google Duo. Okay. Called Google Duo for Android users. Okay. And so, yeah, I know it. So Ace Fair, knowing stuff like that. It's unbelievable.
I know.
Sidebar, Stan Shields. I'm watching my time. I have dear friends. When I went to Chicago 2 weeks ago, they picked me up from the airport and they wanted to go to lunch. So we went to lunch, social distancing, and we went to an outdoor Mexican restaurant. And this dear friend of mine, he's my best man in my wedding. I'm 53. I'll be 54 exactly 30 days from now, October 2nd. And so we've known each other for 40 years, been best friends. He's my best man in my wedding. And I said, man, Irv, I got to tell you, people are coming to me about technology. They're leaning on me to help them, mentor them through technology, showing them different formats, how they can be online. It's not just Zoom, man. It's Remo, it's Blitzer, it's Microsoft Teams. And after 5 minutes, after he stopped laughing, I explained to him how I just started self-educating myself. And the reason is because if you're a close friend or you've been a client of mine for a decade, 15, 25 years, you know that Ace Fair and technology, there's like oil and water, usually don't mix. But guess what? We are proof that anybody can make a change. We are proof that anybody can adjust and adapt, especially if the stakes are high. And so if you're going to survive through this, guess what? You've got to adjust and adapt and educate yourself. So I started finding out about different formats. So I kept networking with this one young lady that we were networking prior to COVID. And then we kept networking, and she became a client of mine. And I actually did something like this for her on her format called Remo. And it's a beautiful format that she hosts twice a week. And there's actually, when people log in, there are actually tables, just like you would see at a networking event. And you hover over a table with your mouse. And if there's a seat there, you can click on it and boom, now you're in a conversation with 4 people and you can move tables. It's most fascinating. And so that's another format that people can use. And then, of course, there's this new format called Blitzer, which I tell people it's a combination of LinkedIn, Zoom, and webinar all combined. and it's a most unique platform. And if anybody needs to know about that platform, I actually hold Blitz events. And the cool thing about it is that it was conceived on the East Coast. So if you want contacts throughout the East Coast and Midwest, that you're going to find those people on Blitzer more than you'll find West Coast people. And so for me, I wanted to do that because I wanted to start getting a plethora of clients everywhere. And by the way, that's another thing that will happen if you adjust and adapt quickly. What I was doing in a room, I'm doing on Zoom, I'm doing on technology. And now I'm meeting people through technology, through these different formats, forging relationships just like I would do normally, and now turning those relationships into partnerships, into clients, into whatever I need to happen. And so once again, our resounding message is that if we can educate ourselves on Zoom, freeconferencecall.com video, Remo, Blitzer, Microsoft Teams, other formats, etc., use Google Hangouts as well as FaceTime and Google Duo, then if we can, you can. It's just a matter if you'll put the effort in, you'll find some mentorship and work on it on a daily basis. And now, Stan, we could be on multiple platforms on a daily basis. We host different events throughout the week. We're helping ourselves to develop more relationships, and we're helping our clients to do the same. And we're helping to bring people together where normally they would not be together because of this COVID process. So with that being said, Stan, I turn it back over to you for any other comments or questions that you might have for me at this time.
Well, that's fantastic. You went through all of that and you answered all of those questions. So, but it's always fascinating to me that when I have these interviews or as I'm talking to people, there's always more to learn, and that was one of the quotes that one of our grandmasters in the martial arts used to say is there's always more to learn. No matter what belt you get to, no matter what level we achieve in life, there's always more to learn, right? And so you threw out a couple of nuggets here, Google Duo. So that's similar to a FaceTime kind of a thing then, right? But it's for Android. Okay, I'd never heard of Google Duo. So that's amazing, right? But I'm now an iPhone user, and I don't even use FaceTime all that much, but that's kind of nice to do that. So what do you like the Remo format? I looked at Remo and it just seemed much more expensive than some of the others, but
it's a little hinky in its use, and it's not for an amateur technology person. I mean, you got to be on your technology game. It's a little hinkier than a lot of the other formats, but it has its place. I know there's another new technology that's similar to Remo that some friends of mine are going to be using coming up here shortly. I don't know the name of it, but you can search this stuff. Again, these are things that you can Google. These are things you can go to business consultants if they're technology minded and up on their game can tell you about. But I tell you, for me, for somebody just getting started using technology, for me, Zoom is the way to go because it's simpler, it's easier, way more affordable, and even their basics is good enough for somebody to get started. Obviously, if somebody like my church is doing Zoom church, you need the paid for format. But let me tell you, the basic, simple paid for format for, I don't know, $15-20 a month, whatever it is. I don't pay bills around here. My wife does. So she handles the money financially. So I know it's well worth it. I mean, it's almost, it reminds me of our services, shameless plug, that we offer, because it's just one of the best dollar amounts that a person can have. You're one of our customers, naturally, Stan. And I think any of these formats, they're $15-20. I mean, my God, what is getting a client worth to you? What is a client worth to you? I mean, if you have any of these formats, the technology is very, very affordable, in my opinion, for the most part, when you're talking about, especially Zoom. Okay. Remo's a little clunky. It's a little hinky. Would not recommend that, especially for a first outing for somebody who is, just getting into the technology.
Perfect. All right. So now I do want to talk a little bit about what it is that you do. We have your info scrolling across the bottom of the screen, but tell those people that may not know who Legal Shield is or ID Shield, tell them a little bit about that. And
Sure.
then as we wrap up, I want to then have you talk a little bit about any of your upcoming events for this week so that we can maybe plug those a little bit. So
Absolutely.
Talk about Legal Shield and ID Shield first.
Well, very quickly. Well, Legal Shield and ID Shield, the company Legal Shield has been around for 48 years. I've been around for 26 of those years. And we do something very, very basic. Instead of you paying, $300, $400 an hour for your attorneys when you need one, you pay a very small monthly or very small annual fee. And for that, our attorneys do everything legal for you. And it is most needed in these times right now because our attorneys work remotely from either the office, social distancing, or from their homes. And so they're able to help you out really, truly. And I was on that Zoom earlier with COVID survivors because one of the basic things we do is help people get their affairs in order. We help them get their will, living will, dual power of attorney, healthcare directive. We help them get those things done, and we can get it done while we're in this COVID process. You just fill out your information through our smart app, send it off to the law firm. They call you back, verify it, and within 10 business days, you've got all your affairs in order. Not only that, but we provide this 24/7 card in case you get stopped by the boys in blue. They want to question, detain you, arrest you. You got access to your law firm 24/7 for emergency things of that nature. Plus, we protect your identity with our ID Shield best-in-class services, bar none. And we have some small business consulting that we can do on a remote basis through our consulting arm, Go Small Biz, for business entrepreneurs out there. So that's what I do. Absolutely love it. You see this T-shirt that says, "I love my residual income." I'm always looking for people who want to start a new career from home as well. And that's been quite apropos during these times, too, because people are losing their businesses, especially if it's a traditional business, or their jobs. And so they need to be able to work from home. And everything we do in our company, we can do it from the comforts of our home with our phone and our computer. Just that simple. And then as far as the networking goes, I host, there's one event that is networked out of Chicago because it's at 7 a.m. Central, which is 8 a.m. Eastern. But as me and Stan know, it is 5 a.m. Pacific. All right. Yes. And it's a group of entrepreneurs that I put together. It'll be 26 years because it matches my career with Legal Shield 26 years ago, and called ABNA, Aces Business Network Affair. And everybody is welcome. We get anywhere between 25 and 30 people for that. And it's a Zoom from 7 a.m. Central to about 8:30 a.m. Central. So adjust your time zone for that. And then on Thursdays, I do a Blitzer event, which is the new technology. It is quite unique. You can actually pick the people that you want to network with for 5 minutes once you sign up for the Blitzer event itself and that technology. So if anybody needs information on that, love to give that to you. And then it's more concise. It's more streamlined for networking and more efficient. And then I do this huge speed networking event that just has a life of its own and a community of its own, about 10 to 12 regulars. And we rotate 15 to another 20 people every week. So anywhere between 25 and 30 people on that regularly, people from around the country, usually from Florida to Georgia to the Carolinas to Illinois to Indiana to the West Coast here, Arizona and Nevada. And it is a wonderful, and California, wonderful, wonderful event. Probably my favorite event right now online. And of course, I have access to other networking events online. So if anybody wants to network with me, my email, acefairgroup@gmail.com is the best one. ACEFAIRGROUP@gmail.com is the best one for me. And appreciate you, Stan, having this. And hopefully this will serve as value for many people out there.
Yeah, awesome. That's very good. So that Friday network, you're right. that has really taken on a life of its own. So that's become a lot of fun in there. So reach out to Ace if you want to learn more about those networking groups that he's got going on. His info scrolling across the bottom of the screen. We'll leave it there until we end the broadcast in just about a minute or so. We're gonna wrap up now and move on. But thank you very much for coming on today. I appreciate it, and appreciate you sharing your story, because I do know too that it was interesting. Yeah, you were not Mr. Technology, prior to going into the whole COVID thing, and I laugh too now because you tell me that people are like, yeah, you're my technology guru, and it's like we all. But there's a thing that I truly live by, and that is that we all know more on any given subject than somebody, right? I mean, there's other people out there that, in fact, when I first bought the martial arts business and started growing it, I was concerned because I was only a third degree, right? And I'm like, but I look at all these brand new white belts and everybody else, and I'm like, I know more than they do.
Right.
So I'll be fine, right? So we grow from it. So we're going to wrap up today. So thank you again. And thank you for anybody that's watching today and joined us for the broadcast. I appreciate you joining us. If you've not already liked or subscribed or followed or whatever it is on the platform that you're on, that you're watching this from, make sure you do that so we can catch future broadcasts. And we will see you next time. Join me tomorrow for Thursday's broadcast with the Catlows. That's going to be fun. It's Thrive Time Thursday. All right, we're going to end it. We'll see you next time around.